everybody, to the Nebula vibe. It's been a while. I started school, I took some time off, I made so many things that my fingers, and had too much coffee that my fingers couldn't even shuffle cards for a little bit. But we're back. We're in action, and I've been feeling the pull to do this reading for a few weeks now, as I've been doing some work with some of my own ancestors. And so this reading is going to be messages from your ancestors and mine for our highest and best good, and the ones that mean the highest and best for us, because sometimes ancestors have their own ideas of what is best, but we are going to be channeling messages that are for your highest and best good. And I just wanted to share a quick story. I've been doing ancestor work for a while now, and over the last couple years, and it's something that has been so fulfilling and so magical and so incredible. And my most recent one actually came from one of my favorite tarot readers, Chloe Taylor. You may know her. I'll link her channel down below. She's incredible. And she had a reading where she had this super specific message come through for an ancestor, somebody's ancestor named Rose. And as soon as she said it, I had so many chills. And even now saying it, I have so many chills. And I was like, I'm pretty sure one of my ancestors' names was Rose. Oh my gosh. And so I texted my mom. Turns out my mom's mom, so my great grandma, was named Rose. And I realized my whole life she's been sending me messages and hints, and I've had affinity for roses, unexplainable affinity for roses. And I have, 3 different rose tattoos, one on my arm, one on my ankle, one on my back. And most recently, I bought some yoni wash from this Etsy shop called lalussetreasures.com, and I will link them below because their products are incredible. But they sent me a little thank you gift, and I'm burning the incense right now that they sent me. But it was rose incense cones, and I just have to read this to you because it's so incredible. Rose increases love, compassion, and devotion, and gives a sense of security and spiritual attunement. It promotes sleep, reduces anger, is gently antidepressive, calms strife, and instills a feeling of peace, happiness, and confidence. And I swear this is all stuff that I was working on. And it just, as soon as I opened the package, I just had chills, and it's a really incredible experience. And it can be a little scary at first, but again, you can set boundaries with your ancestors. And if you hear a message that you're like, not for me, it's not for you, disregard. But when you know, and you will have a level of resonance within the message that's meant for you, where you feel it on a visceral level, on a genetic DNA soul vibration level. So I'm very excited for this. I've been feeling the pull for it for a while, and just wanted to make sure that I was in a really great space. So I just took a shower, I just Palo Santo'd, I did set my intention candle, and I set a yellow candle for my great grandma Rose, because she had a canary named Buddy, and it just felt like the right thing to do. So I'm asking for her help and my other ancestors and yours that all mean the highest and best good for us all. And we're going to channel some messages. So the timestamps will be in the comments below. I will also have a picture with all the decks that I'm using and all the info that I reference as well. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And let's get into it. Cheers. All right, my friends, these are our groups. We've got group 1, group 2, and group 3. Go ahead and take a few moments, maybe grab a cup of tea or some other beverage, and breathe in and out deeply a few times, and really connect with your ancestors, your guides, and ask which pile has the messages from your ancestors for you. And again, remember, some of this, I'm channeling for a few people, Anybody that taps in, and this message is timeless, so whenever it gets to you, it's meant for you, and there will be something for you. And if you hear something you don't like, then it's not meant for you. Sometimes messages we hear that are meant for us, we may not like initially, but they may come back later, or maybe you've heard it a different way. But take what resonates, leave the rest, and any of the energies or messages we get, again, are going to be for your highest and best good. So take a few moments, breathe and choose, and the timestamps will be down below in the comments and the description. All right, my dear group 1, this is for you, your reading, your messages from your ancestors for your highest and best good. Let's see what we got here. Lots of tarot cards came out for you folks today. So we're starting with tarot from this beautiful Shadowscape deck. And the first card we have is the Hierophant, depending on how you say it. Next card we have is the Nine of Pentacles. Wow. Next card is the King of Wands. The Nine of Swords upside down. Oh yeah, this pile got an extra tarot card. We have the Wheel of Fortune upside down. And the Ace of Pentacles upside down. Very interesting. Organize these a bit. I'm just kind of taking this all in. So for some of you, your ancestors are saying that what you know and what has been traditional and what has been expected of you for generations is what has been, and it needs to be flipped on its head, honestly. And you are meant for a different path than what has been laid out in front of you by your ancestors. And I almost get the sense for some of you that if you were to follow the traditional path, I'm getting chills right now, that it would end up just not good for you. You know, it would be bad luck. It would be, lack of finances, material wealth, maybe even financial problems, like legal problems. It's just not what you're meant for. And what I see here is this sense of creativity and passion and things budding, but feeling like you can't move forward in that way because of maybe what's been expected of you by even for some of you, your family members that are still alive. And I feel like the message for quite a few of you from your ancestors is that sometimes you have to go your own way, like that Fleetwood Mac song, Go Your Own Way. And I know that's a song that my dad typically will send to me when I'm getting stuck on thinking I have to do things some traditional route or what have you. And it's, we're all meant to carve our own path. And I just feel that so strongly for a lot of you, and I think culturally we get so stuck in what is traditional, what is the path that is well traveled and expected, and what is knowable, and it can be scary, moving out of what is known. And with, let me see this, the Nine of Pentacles is also like fruits of labor, independence, and rewards. And this card indicates a time of opulence and luxury. And what's so interesting is like King of Wands here is looking at that. And even though the Hierophant is upside down and it's morals and ethics, it's not completely going away from that. You can still inform the path that you're creating with that. But for some of you, I really get that sense that you're meant to do the road less traveled. And with the King of Wands, again, that is big picture, a leader, like overcoming challenges. And he's looking back at the past, right? Tradition. Maybe you even had a family that came from wealth, doctors, lawyers. I got some pretty good chills. So, it's a very set traditional path that has created a lot of opulence, a lot of wealth, a lot of predictability. And you're looking at this here and you're like, okay, yes, I can see that this is a way that works, but maybe that is not your path. And maybe it is for some of you, but there's a way that you're going to do it different than what has been done. And with the Nine of Swords upside down, it's all about fear, a lack of objectivity, and despair. Even, it's easy for you to get worked up over the smallest things. Everything that comes along makes you nervous, sending you into a spiral of negativity. So taking a step back and getting a clear perspective, right? And it's even facing forward into the future. And I get this sense that you're stuck in these automatic negative thoughts of, if you stray from this traditional path or that your parents have done or your ancestors before them, that it's just going to go all wrong. And we get so stuck in that negative loop, and our neural pathways are coded into that. But it does not have to be that way. As the King of Wands, again, leader, overcoming challenges, you can create a new way. And when you have the Wheel of Fortune upside down, like I was saying, bad luck, no control, clinging to control. And I think a lot of times when we come from, a lineage of people of success, or maybe you have an opulence or good fortune or wealth, it can be very controlling, right? Because there's all these expectations on you of exactly how you're supposed to be, or even maybe like military, like high status military or something like that. There are so many expectations placed on you before you even get out of your mother's womb on how you should behave, act, do, what kind of life you're going to lead, what kind of job you're going to have, how many kids you're going to have, all that kind of stuff. And when you think of all of that, and following through in that, it just makes you spin out of control and negativity. And the thing with the Ace of Pentacles upside down is lost opportunity and missed chance. And so for a lot of you, what I'm hearing from your ancestors is, if you go down this path that is laid out for you by your ancestors, by even maybe your parents or the people that are raising you right now or have raised you, it will not end well for you. Oh my gosh. And my candle is like flickering like crazy right now when I said that. I wish you could have seen it on camera. I'll have to get a different setup so you can see it next time, but that is that message for you there. So yeah, and I do want to look up, Nine of Pentacles was fruits of labor, and I get from that Nine of Pentacles card too, I feel like, again, obviously she's sitting at a piano, right? And so it's this, maybe you even had lessons in music or some sort of instrument playing or something else, and maybe it was just that, like, oh, it's a hobby, and maybe that is your passion. Maybe that's the thing you're supposed to do, is compose or create music and all these things, and and maybe you've been programmed to think that that's not a possibility as a way to actually bring in wealth and abundance and provide for yourself. But I can tell you, there are plenty of people that create music and play music for a living and live very, very well. So do not listen to that. And the next card I have for you is Good King Nicomaya, which is so interesting, and it's a number 13. And this is such, again, this goes perfectly with the Hierophant and the Nine of Pentacles, and again, that wealth, that opulence, those expectations of traditional. And what's so funny is there's even music notes in here. So I really want to look at this card and see the channeled messages, because I really love this deck. King of merriment and sentimentality, Nicoma rules his kingdom of hearts, or does he? As a male card within a suit that is receptive by nature, this king tends to appear weak, especially as a leader. Interesting. So, I got lots of chills. So I think what I'm getting for some of you from your ancestors is that in the past, creativity comes from a place of feeling. It comes from a place of being tapped into your heart, and the arts and the humanities and those kind of things can be looked down on from a lot of people, and a lot of traditional people that have wealth. They'll appreciate it, and they'll buy into it, and they'll go to museums, and they'll buy the expensive art, but to actually be an artist or a musician or to create full time, they don't think it's realistic or a real way. And so even in this card speaks to how it's looked down on, this king that leads from a heart, and that's that traditional way, right? But you can break out of that. And the next card I have for you is Breath of the Cosmos. My will to thy will, micromanaging the universe. Wow. Interesting. I haven't gotten this card yet before, but look at that. A lot of this to me, I'm going to put it right here with the King of Wands, speaks to co-creation, and micromanaging a lot of times has a negative effect on it, but really micromanaging your mind, being aware of your thoughts that come in when you start to spin out, and when you start to get negative and you start to project and catastrophize, that if you follow your dreams and your passions and your own path away from this traditional path, that it will go bad. Really honing in on your mind and not allowing it to go into that space. Another piece, I want to find the card for this too. I'm really into reading these cards today because I feel like they are very poignant. Breath of the Cosmos. And again, if you think about it, like all our ancestors, and we're all part of the cosmos, right? And we do actually have, yes, the same particles and components of the stars in us, but we also have components of us that are even more ancient than the stars, which is really wild to think about. And it says here in this guide, the Starseed Oracle Guide, when we rely only on our own will, we're micromanaging the universe and resisting the natural flow of life. Ooh, okay, I'm so glad I wrote this. We're not trusting the mysterious breath of life. We're rejecting the great cosmic intelligence and relying instead on our personal strength. When we do this, we find ourselves attempting to bend things to our will. We spend our time forcing, pushing, and living from a space of trying to. Everyone around us can feel it, and the universe can too. You're being called to stop micromanaging the universe and trust the breath of life. To surrender to the greater will that God or the universe, or whatever you want to call spirit, has for you. To move from my will to thy will. When you surrender to the greater will of life, you begin dancing with the rest of life. When you bow to the great mystery and say, please use me, please show me the way, little by little you find yourself living your most fulfilling, authentic life. When you surrender your personal will, you will relinquish control and release the way you think things should be and surrender to the greater will. You will find yourself being led. You begin breathing the breath of life. Okay, and since you can't place this card on your heart, I'm going to hold it up for you so you can really look at it, because there's a little enchantment or starseed activation with this card. So place your hands on your heart and whisper the following. I'm willing to stop relying on my own strength and personal agenda and instead surrender to the breath of life. Dear God or universe, help me move from my will to thy will. Please lead me, show me the way. And what I hear for a lot of you too is like, yes, it's spirit, yes, it's this, but also your ancestors can be that guide and lead you along your way and help you find that inspiration and that path and help you navigate, you know, again, moving away from that micromanaging, trying to force all these things that have been forced on you onto the universe, and letting go of that and really tapping in to, you know, the opposite of all these, right? Tapping into that inspiration and what will happen for you. And I see is this next card. Inner peace. These koi fish. And if you ever watch koi in a pond, they're just so regal and mystical. And again, when you find that ability to surrender, and surrender is part of that trusting that, you know, it's that leap and you'll be caught, right? And so it's that moment of not giving up, but surrendering what you think it should be. Stop trying to micromanage, and it's going to bring you so much peace and alleviate your stress so much to stop trying to force all this traditional way and this path that has been forged for you by people that don't have your highest and best good in mind. They have their own highest and best good in mind. And what'll happen is, even though it may be hard at first and there may be conflict, once you are living your purpose and your true path, and you're just even going on the path of it, even if you don't get to it yet, because it's all about the journey, you will find so much more peace and happiness and joy. And then they will see that you are happier, that you are more on your own path. And the last card I have for you is Hold Your Vision, Fixed Moon. And again, with these both, it's not giving up on that alternative path. It's meditating on it, thinking about it, visualizing your success. You know, athletes spend tons of time just mentally visualizing their success and their process. And same thing with surgeons, with other people, you know, people that do these really highly specified tasks. Take time to practice, and, you know, whatever your craft is, whatever your vision is, whatever it is that lights you up, it's going to take time to develop that skill. And maybe it's a skill you've already developed, you just haven't felt capable of really doing it full time. But when you surrender the how and you trust that the how is going to happen, it'll magically come together as soon as you stop trying to force all these other things. And I feel called again to even read from these books too, because we're just going to do it. We're going to make it happen. So for inner peace, the lily pond. Simply sitting next to a lily pond, watching the dragonflies soar overhead and looking at luminous lily pads floating gently on the water, while their translucent flowers open their petals to the heavens, can fill one with a sense of profound and everlasting peace. Lilies grow in many countries and have been given a wide range of meanings. However, one enduring image of the lily is the notion that out of the darkness and mud arises a thing of immense beauty and grace. No matter how much darkness there has been in your life, you can rise into enlightenment and profound tranquility. The sacred landscape wants you to know inner peace is your birthright. Tranquility occurs when you realize that your life is unfolding according to divine planning. Serenity isn't something you have to work for or search for. It already exists within you. To find this inner peace, simplify your life. Spend time in nature and listen to the message of your soul. True peace transcends fear and connects you intimately to the Creator. Breathe deeply and fully. knowing that all is well. No wonder why I was supposed to read that. That was incredible. I got so many chills. And then with this hold your vision with the fixed moon, I also want to read this. We're just reading the books today. All about it. Fixed moon 106. Let's find you, moonology. Descartes. Intermission noise. Okay, hold your vision. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this has a lot to it, so hang tight, and then we'll be done. There are two main possibilities with this card. The first is that you need to stand firm in whatever situation you're in. The second, very different interpretation, is that something is stuck. That could well be referring to the situation you're asking about. If that's the case, have a think about what you can do to grease the wheels so that the events move forward. Are you being stubborn? If so, that's great, because if you really want things to change, there's a solution. Stop digging your heels in. Be the one to break a deadlock. With two interpretations for this card, it's up to you to decide what is going on and which meaning applies to you. This offers up a chance for some self-reflection. Attuned to the moon. Yes. Just say the word a lot and see how it feels. Additional meanings for this card. Staying power, faith, or patience are needed. Someone needs to back down. Avoid stagnation. Again, being stuck in like traditional things that, you know, other people want for you that you don't want for yourself. Total stagnation. A personal or professional relationship will be enduring. The teaching. In astrology, there are three quadruplicities. Quadruplicities? Yeah. Cardinal, fixed, immutable. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. The fixed signs can be stubborn, so anything that's just starting as you draw this card may well last longer. Remember, we each have all the star signs in our chart. It's just the way the astrological wheel works. So there's no judgment when we say that while it's admirable how much staying power the fixed signs have, they can also be obstinate. So with that, there's a for some of you that are, you know, on this path and going to be crafting your own way and moving away from that which has been laid out for you, or maybe that's traditional in your family. I get the sense, I get chills too, that you need to kind of, if you're not one of those signs, don the energy of that stubbornness in that you know what you want, you know what is best for you, and when you're in doubt, ask your ancestors for help. Again, ask the ones that have that your highest and best good in mind, and set that intention, and, you know, start taking those steps. You know, release some of the micromanaging control, get into the flow, get into nature, you know, work on releasing your grip and trying to force things happen, and see how you can find that bake of well-being. There's a what is it? It's like a neuroscience thing that I got from this book called The Whole Brain Child, but they talk about the river of life, and like the river of well-being, and being, you know, in your boat in the river of well-being, you're flowing with life, you're doing good, and there's two banks. There's like the bank of rigidity and then the bank of chaos, and sometimes we can, you know, knock our boat up against either one of those. And, you know, especially when we're dealing with ancestors, when we're dealing with family, there is generational trauma, there's generational baggage that we all carry. And a lot of us that are now tapping into all of this work with tarot, with spirituality, everything else, we are breaking the cycle. We are healing generational bonds of trauma. And it's a lot of work, but it's worthy work. And you do have help, and you do have support. And I will link some things down below. But I just feel so strongly that everybody watching this is meant for incredible things. And anytime you are one of those trailblazers that is literally making your own way in the world, you expand the world for all of us. So please comment in the comments down below. Let me know what you're working on, if this resonated with you. I wish you well on your journey, and I will see you next time. Thank you. All right, my dear group 2, I'm taking a sip of tea. Sorry for the slurp. All right, welcome. This is your reading with messages from your ancestors. I think you all might have gotten some extra cards as well. We'll see what happens here. All right. So first off, we have the 4 of Cups. Beautiful. Death card. Such a beautiful card in this Shadowscapes death, or Shadowscapes card tarot deck. Wow. Beautiful. King of Pentacles. I love how so many of these cards look like they have like treants. Queen of Swords. Upside down. And the Page of Cups. Upside down. Well, my dear friends, you know, the Death card gets a bad rap, but it is a card of change, of metamorphosis. You could be potentially dealing with some death. Maybe one of your ancestors is newly passed, for some of you. And typically with the 4 of Cups, it's about some apathy, some feelings of just really low feelings, right? And you know, life sometimes is that way. Apathy, contemplation, disconnectedness, which again, that comes with death. So for those of you that are facing and grieving death, my condolences, honestly, and it is never easy to lose those we love on this plane and to not have their physical presence around. And part of why I do what I do with tarot readings and connecting to spirit is because of losing my dad when I was 14. And my heart goes out to you, if for those of you that are dealing with actual death. And again, this, you know, 4 of Cups energy, being so deep in contemplation and thought, you may sometimes ignore the gifts the world gives you. And it's so easy to just focus on what we've lost instead of seeing all that is around us. And that's a natural part of grief. But what I'm getting for a lot of you is your ancestors are saying, yes, you've been lost in thought. Yes, you've been deep in contemplation. You've been a little disconnected, maybe even from your body and your spirituality. You might be dealing with a lot of anger, which is totally natural and normal with grief. But there is still so much good. There's still so much that are gifts around you, and you have to be able to process and feel everything that you're feeling, but also know that, you know, the person that you've lost, they don't want you to be angry and upset and sad all the time. You know, it doesn't make them feel any better, and not to guilt you at all, but don't feel obligated to be sad and grieving and processing all the time. It is okay for you to experience happiness and joy and to shift into gratitude for the life and the time that you had with that person that you loved. And for those of you that maybe this is a job transformation, I feel you on that. I am in the middle of that, and that is also incredibly intense and leads you into contemplation and introspection on a very deep and visceral level. But what I also see here is the King of Pentacles, you know, abundance, power, security, and maybe this is the energy of that person for some of you that you lost. And for others, maybe this is you, and this is the transformation that you're heading into, is moving from this place of disconnectedness, transforming through that feeling, through that processing, through the learns that you received during this time of contemplation, or maybe you're in it right now and this is what's coming forward for you. And for some of you, with this balance here of the Queen of Swords upside down and the King of Pentacles, I get that some of you may have an imbalance, and your ancestors want you to know that you have an imbalance in your masculine and feminine energies, and that you've been neglecting your feminine side. And whatever gender you are, we all carry within us the energy of either masculine or feminine. And even, you know, in different languages, like French, you know, they assign, you know, the female la to cars and like luggage, and the male le to books and professors or whatever. So, you know, it's fluid is what I'm saying. But I get a strong sense that, you know, that male masculine energy side you're very strong in, and part of your transformation is going to be balancing out that feminine and masculine. And with the Queen of Swords being upside down, you know, that also speaks to like being cold-hearted, cruel, or bitter. And again, for those of you that are dealing with death, totally natural to be in that space. And however you feel is okay to feel, but don't get stuck in it. Don't stay in it for too long. Process through it. If you need help to process, which most of us do, get a therapist. I'm gonna link some different options for you down below. Get a practitioner that can help you heal. Do some Reiki, do some journaling, do some ways, you know, and swords deal with communication. And so maybe part of that is just a perception, and maybe your ancestors are saying, hey, you're coming off as cold or bitter, and it's diminishing the love and the support in your life because you're not communicating your needs, you're not communicating how you're feeling, and maybe you're afraid to express those emotions, which is totally, again, totally natural, totally normal. But a lot of times when we get in this Queen of Swords upside down energy, we're leaving others by the wayside that would want to help us. And maybe this is just you shutting off, you know, for some of you, I got some chills, for some of you, that feminine side that is out of balance is your intuition, is your spiritual gifts, is your ability, I got so many chills, to connect with the other side, to connect with your ancestors, to connect with your guides, to connect with spirit, God, whatever you want to call it. And you've shut that down for whatever reason. And I've been there. I was what I dub an angry atheist for a good 10 years of my life, if not a little more, after my dad passed. And it is totally natural, again, to feel however you feel, but I have found so much healing and so much expansion and love and abundance and everything that I've ever wanted coming into my life as soon as I let my spirituality open back up, as soon as I started communicating again with the other side, as soon as I was open and tracking my dreams. All these things have opened up so much more joy, healing, and love in my life. And that is all that feminine side. Not that, you know, the masculine side isn't tapped into at times, but really that feminine side, you know, the moon, our unconscious, all of that, all linked together. And for the Page of Cups upside down, you know, normally the Page of Cups is like happy surprise, when it's upright, inner child, intuition. And again, when it's upside down, it's that immaturity, escapism, and lack of creativity. And again, if this is the space you're in and you are grieving, or you're going through this big change or transition, again, it's totally normal. But what can you do to be in touch with that inner child, with your intuition, again, your creativity? You know, start doodling, start drawing, start painting, start writing, start playing, you know, go outside, be in nature, go on a hike, anything you can do. If you have kids, for those of you that do have kids, get down, sit on the ground with them and play with them with their toys. Feel what it feels like to be a kid again and be on their level, and that will really help you start to tap back into that inner child for you. And again, for some of you, you know, I'm sure some of you topping in, so many of us have been through so much trauma and so much abuse in our early childhood. And maybe, you know, some of your ancestors and guides are people that were mean to you in the past. You do not have to tap in. You do not have to talk to them. You can set boundaries, and you can still protect yourself from people on the other side or ancestors on the other side that you don't want to be around. And that is okay. You do not need to open yourself up to that. So don't feel like interacting with your ancestors is going to open the floodgates to people that have hurt you in your past that may not be here anymore. And I know that's very specific, but it is for some of you, and I feel you on that. But again, you set the boundaries, you set the way that you want to communicate and how you want to interact with your intuition. You can ask for signs, you can ask for guidance, you can get guidance from others. You know, there's some incredible intuitive psychics on YouTube and everywhere else that can give you tons of information on how to start that process and how to protect yourself and how to just really tap in, but not go too far to where it's detrimental to you, right? And that's why, again, we channeled ancestors with the highest and best good intentions for your highest and best good. So, that was a lot in those first couple cards. Next, what I have for you is this card, which is, I want to say, it's the 3 of Hearts from this Oracle deck. And I've been reading these because they've been very specific and helpful. Today I've been in the mood of actually reading some of my guidebooks here. The Clutch. 3 is a difficult number when it comes to matters of the heart. It beckons a choice or a decision. And so for some of you, again, this may be a work transition, this may be a relational transition. There is a decision you have to make in this transformation. And for those of you that have lost somebody, again, it's a decision to be siphoning all your energy into the past, or to siphon it into and regain it and bring it back into the present where you are, and not even going into the future yet. Don't even expend your energy out there, just in the present, doing meditation, doing mindful walks in nature, journaling, art, music. Again, all these things bring you into the present moment. If you have a pet, snuggle that pet. It will get you into the present moment. But there is some big decision you have to make, whether it's accepting a new job, a new relationship, or again, just deciding that the person that you lost, if you did lose somebody, wants you to live your life and not spend all of your energy and time on the what ifs or feeling regret for however things ended up being. And again, I'm speaking from 22 years of hindsight. 22 years of hindsight since losing my dad. And it's still tough. There's still times that I still, am deeply, deeply missing his physical presence. But again, tapping into your intuition, tapping into the other side, you can connect with that person, and there are people that can help you facilitate it, but you do not need anybody else except yourself to tap in and to get those messages. One of the things I feel called to tell you is, I love this because the next card that you got is, you are not alone. You're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, and community. Look at that. Oh, I have so many chills. And so what I was going to share is that one of the ways that I connect with my dad and with my guides and my other ancestors is actually through writing. And I will set a candle, I will light some incense, something like that. I'll, use some Palo Santo or sage, and I will set an intention of a question or something I want to know, or maybe something that I'm working through, and I will just start writing. And I won't edit it. Typically I do this by hand. Handwriting, you can type it, because I do type sometimes too, but I find handwriting is a little more fluid. But either way would work. But just keep writing, don't edit it. Maybe even set a timer if you need to for like 5-10 minutes, but get in that flow state, meditate, and then just start writing. And just let it flow, let it come. Don't think about what you're writing, just write. And what I've found is that I can channel, and my dad will write through me, or my great-grandma Rose will write through me, or one of my other guides will write through me. And it's a really wild experience. But the more you practice, the more you can get into that state, and it also creates that open channel for you where you can receive even more greater detail messages, insights, both for yourself and others. And it is a really powerful tool. Haha. And the next card I got, taking risks. Look at that. So many chills. And so, is it a risk to open yourself up to spiritual communication, to do a YouTube channel where you do tarot card readings or whatever else? Yes, it is a risk, but it's worth the risk. The reward is there, and tapping into your feeling, even when it feels awful and it's painful, what you realize when you meditate and you allow yourself to actually feel through things is that they move through you quicker. The emotions move through you quicker when you allow yourself to fully feel it. And in this day and age, letting yourself feel things and using your intuition and developing your spiritual gifts, yes, it is a risk, but honestly, there's such an incredible community of people available to catch you when you take that leap, as well as are your guides and your ancestors. But it's worth it. Yes, it can be scary. Yes, it can open yourself up to things, but again, learning how to protect yourself, setting the intention, it is worth it. The risk is worth it. It is an incredible, incredible gift. And you actually got 2 of the Moonology cards, and I feel called to tell some of you, is this a hawk? That is a hawk. That is a hawk. So one of the signs that I've been getting recently is a hawk, and the hawks deal with big spirituality, like divine spirit, just God energy kind of thing. And that may have some level of resonance for you with an ancestor. One that, so many chills, one that really connected with birds, or maybe they had a bird, maybe they were even a falconer, or somebody that worked with birds of prey. But that is one of your ancestors that's been trying, for some of you, that has been trying to connect with you. And I know for me, my ancestors absolutely send messages through birds for me. And it is incredible. So just keep an eye out, keep a lookout. And a lot of times, like my dad will send crows just to let me know that he's there. And it's funny the ways in which crows come to me and how they make themselves known to me. Even though crows are like an everyday bird, but they will like purposely fly. Like if I'm sitting in a parking lot, they'll fly right in front of my windshield and drop down and have a snack. Or they'll fly right over my head as soon as I'm walking out the door. It's very intentional. And sometimes when I'm walking at the cemetery, at my dad's cemetery, I'll hear the cackle and I'll hear the crow laugh. When my kids do something funny or I say something funny, it's all meaningful. It's the meaning that you assign that you get with it. And this is why I wanted to say that, because the answers you need are coming full moon in Gemini. So maybe one of your ancestors was a Gemini, maybe you are, but the answers that you're seeking and that you need are within you, and your ancestors can help you find them. Oh, so many chills. Oh, so many chills. Oh my gosh. Ooh. And the last card I have for you is the energy is gaining momentum, waxing moon. And so with this one too, it's something that I get for a lot of you. Your ancestors have been trying to get to you through dreams, and even like if you do have meditation practice in your meditations and you've been shutting it down and not trusting your intuition, and that is a big place where they will connect with you and tap in and give you insights and downloads. And a lot of times with meditation, they're like, yeah, you know, clear your mind of thoughts, what have you. And yes, that is part of the practice, but there is also a practice where you can open yourself up and really receive those thoughts that are beyond you, to receive those downloads and those messages. And I can tell you, I have had some of the most incredible experiences when I allow myself to get to that space of receptivity, where I have quieted my own thoughts and my own body, and I'm just in it and I'm in the flow. Nothing like it. It is incredible. Just so good. So, my dear friends, you are not alone. You have support. Tap into that intuition. Set the boundaries that you need. Get connected with your heart. And it's all here for you. It's all available. You know, this time of regret and contemplation and grief is necessary, but do not get stuck in it. Pull yourself out of it through your intuition, through getting messages, through your meditation practice, through getting connected to nature, through making art, writing, whatever it is that you need to do to pull yourself up and out and back into your own life instead of just the grief. Do it. Your ancestors are there to guide you. I'm here to help too. You can, you know, connect with me on, you know, any of my links for help. You can shoot a comment down below. I'd love to hear if this resonated with you, what you're going through. And again, my heart goes to you, my friend. Whatever you're going through, you've got this and you're not alone. And thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, my friends, group 3, last but not least, candle is almost done. It's gonna be perfect. And I'm taking a sip of my tea. Here we are, messages from your ancestors that mean your highest and best good. Let's see here. What have we got? Okay, so first off, we have the 4 of Swords reversed. We have the 8 of Pentacles. I know I've said it in all my other readings, but I love this Shadowscape tarot deck. And I will link it below. It is so beautiful. 3 of Swords. Queen of Cups. Some powerful energy in this. And Justice. Well, my dear friends, I get a sense for some of you that there are some ancestors and some people in your life maybe that are still alive that have hurt you. And my candle flame just went pretty wild. So I'm actually surprised you even went into this reading for some of you to get messages from your ancestors. Again, that was part of why I channeled the ancestors for your highest and best good. And I just said this in group 2, but with ancestor work, you can set boundaries and you do not have to connect with ancestors that have hurt you. you can set that boundary that no, you're not going to talk to them, you're not going to allow them space in your heart or in your life or in your awareness. And that is a-okay. I have done that, and it is part of the process. So first off there, for that, for the Four of Swords reversed, it's about restlessness and burnout and stress. And, you know, I can tell that life has been difficult for you. Maybe you had early childhood trauma as well, like me. Maybe you're going through it right now, something traumatic has happened, but you're pushing on and pushing on and pushing on and pushing on and not allowing your body time to rest. So your ancestors that mean the highest and best good for you are telling you to chill the fuck out and rest your body. Not allowing life to defeat you is important, but it's more important to take a moment of peace so you can move with more energy for the days to come. And you know, with the Three of Swords energy too, it's heartbreak, it's suffering, it's grief. So you might have also been called to two. So I would say read that as well, or listen to that one as well. Because wherever you're at, you know, you've been hurt, you're experiencing pain. Some of you, you know, may have experienced loss recently in some kind of way. And however you feel is okay to feel. And the most important thing is that you will allow yourself to feel it fully so that it can move on. You know, when we repress things and we hold back and we don't feel into our feelings, that is when that shit gets stuck in our body and it just festers and it causes problems. And so, yes, it's painful. Yes, it's hard to allow yourself to feel those things and to cry and to be angry or upset or whatever it is, all these emotions, sad, but that is also how you heal, is allowing yourself to feel. And with the Queen of Cups, that is all about, you know, your compassion, calm, comfort, feelings. And maybe this is a figure in your life, maybe this is one of your ancestors that wants to be nurturing and compassionate towards you. Really wants to be very generous with you. Maybe this is you normally, and maybe you give, oh, I got the chills. So for some of you, you give so much compassion and comfort to others to the detriment of your own well-being. And maybe it's something that, like my family, it's just part of the martyrdom that's passed down through, you know, different religions or what have you, or just through different cultures of, you know, you put everyone else before yourself, but you need to be able to fill your cup before you can fill anybody else's. And if you are completely depleted and you keep giving, you are just going to get sicker and sicker and more tired and more frustrated and more fatigued. So, my dear friend, take some time for yourself to rest. Maybe do a salt soaked bath. You know, maybe meditate, maybe sleep in, take a nap. Whatever you can do to allow yourself to rest and relax and recharge, please, please do. And now so Eight of Pentacles is all about education, apprenticeship, achievement. It stresses the importance of hard work and diligence in accomplishing your goals, indicates a time to buckle down, study, and achieve new skills, all in the name of being able to change your circumstances. So I get a sense for some of you, you might be in school right now, or again, like it said, an apprenticeship. You are learning something, and you may feel like you can't take any time off. And maybe you can't, but you can find those moments throughout your day. Even if it's just a minute to 5 minutes to meditate, you can regain energy there. Minutes to 5 minutes to go walk outside, get some fresh air. That will allow your body to rest. I feel called to tell you too, if you are locked into an obligation where you feel you cannot really take time off to rest or relax or take a vacation, chunk your work down into 25-minute chunks. No more than 50-minute chunks. But just break up the work you need to do and work for 25 minutes straight, then take a 3 to 5 minute micro break, stretch, meditate, get some water, get a snack, and then go back into the work. And you will find so much less fatigue, so much better and more effective work. It's going to make a huge, huge difference in your life. And then we have justice as well. So I wonder for some of you, if you might even be in like law school and learning to be a lawyer or judge or something like that. And man, if that is your calling, good on you. And maybe that's part of, you know, all of this. Maybe it has come from grief and stress and wrongful death or something like that. And you are floored and fueled to do this work and this passion. But you need to stay connected to your emotions and your feelings and be able to, again, fill your cup first so that you can pour into others and have the energy for the work that you need to do. And with justice too, it's cause and effect, it's clarity, it's truth. It's a card of karmic retribution. What you get is a direct result of your actions. So again, if you keep depleting yourself to the point where you have a negative energetic bank, because you're just giving it out, your body will get sick. And for some of you, your ancestors are telling you, you need to slow your roll. You need to, you know, if you need to, set reminders to feed yourself. You know, chill out on the coffee a bit, have more water, get some fresh air, just 20 minutes a day. You know, you can take some phone calls outside. You can do a meeting outside. Maybe if your Wi-Fi will allow it, you can study outside. You just get some vitamin D, take your vitamins, take your supplements, you know, eat food that brings energy into your body, care for yourself first, and you will have so much more to give to others. And that is a very, very big message for many of you. I think almost all of us need that normally. And look at this. This is so perfect. The 7 of Hearts. And it even says, if you can see it at the top, healing. I'm going to put this right here. And so, you know, again, the swords too deal with communication. So maybe this isn't like a full death or loss, but maybe there's been some words that have been exchanged, either that you said to somebody else or somebody has said to you, that has caused a lot of hurt. And you need to speak up for yourself. You need to give yourself the compassion and care that you give others. And the sword of healing, when the sword of healing reveals itself, a challenge of love and or healing is at hand. So again, you're feeling some kind of way, right? You've been hurting and you have been pushing forward to do the work that you need to do, while silently suffering. I get really big chills. So a lot of you are silently suffering, and you're reaching, your ancestors want you to know you're reaching a breaking point. And sometimes, you know, that breaking point is that breakdown, the breakthrough. But get help, get support, fill your cup first. You know, that self-care, getting a therapist. You know, I talked about this in the other readings too, but it is something that I would not be here without it. And I think every human being needs a therapist. And it's an incredible gift. The next card I have for you is the Cosmic Heart. Devotion, potency, make your life a moving prayer. And again, you know, prayer is just communication, right? Communication with the other side. Prayer can, I've even heard people say that prayer can, like when you're drawing, it can be a prayer or offering, painting, writing, but really just that communication with yourself, your body, your needs, and with that which that is greater than us, whether you call it God, whether you call it the universe, divine source, whatever you call it. Filling your cup up spiritually, mentally, physically, will make you more available for even more insight and inspiration. And I'm called to read the book on this one, Cosmic Heart. Let's see what this Starseed Oracle has to say here. 48. When you surrender to a state of devotion, you find yourself flowing with all of life. You're being called to refocus your attention deep within, to the intelligence of your own heart, to bow with deep reverence to your inner temple, to live your life in devotion to this place, to make your life one big moving prayer. Perhaps you felt a bit off kilter lately, sensing that the potency of why you're doing things has gotten a little watered down or weak. Perhaps because you've forgotten what made you start doing them in the first place. If so, this is your call to take a moment and reconnect with the truth at the very center of your heart, to get back to the essence of what you're about, to devote your life to what you care most about, to turn your gaze deep, 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 deep. There are seasons for harvesting and seasons for sowing. Right now, you're being called to plant your soul's seeds and sing to them with deep devotion. Oh, so many chills. To feed them with the sweet waters of your own soul, to lose yourself in the potency of what it is that most expands your heart, to live your life according to what makes you come alive, rather than what everyone else thinks, to make your life one big moving prayer. And so the Starseed Soul Inquiry question is, how can you make your life a moving prayer? And what's so great about that, and you know, take a moment to think about what came up for you. But this is the next card that I got, and I feel like it's so perfect in that, and embracing. And I'm going to read this one as well, but I mean, embracing yourself, again, sending that compassion to yourself, embracing spirituality, embracing those, your heart, that soul, your desires. You know, there's a reason that we have the desires that we do, and it is meant to fuel you forward in the work that you do. And let me find this here. Embracing, I know you're right here. There you are. Floodplains. A floodplain is a naturally occurring phenomenon in which the land adjacent to a river floods out to far banks of the surrounding land during times of high water. Land that is normally dry may be underwater for a period of time. When this occurs, silt, sand, and nutrients are deposited. For this reason, floodplains are often areas of great fertility as well as a rich ecosystem. They are excellent areas for lush, abundant crops. It is a natural occurrence that allows life in all areas to thrive. The sacred landscape wants you to know, sometimes life overflows with emotions which can feel uncomfortable. However, the ensuing result of this discomfort can be of great value, perhaps arising from an unseen or unknown source. You get this card when emotions are seemingly overflowing, or not overflowing at all. Cherish the overflow of emotions and embrace the times that seem murky, for your inner floodplains are being replenished, and as a result, there will be great spiritual and physical expansion. Embrace all your emotions. When you do so, greater prosperity and fertility will flow into your life. Alternatively, if your emotions have been blocked, this is the time to explore and experience them. Oh my goodness. So again, I already said it, but if you were drawn, or maybe you weren't even drawn to a card, to deck 2, but watch deck 2 too, because that's a lot of what we talked about. And again, no emotion is bad. It's the behavior and the actions that we take on those emotions that can be bad or have a bad effect. And so feeling through those emotions, you know, taking time to meditate on anger, taking time to meditate on sadness, and notice where you feel it in your body. Notice the things that come up for you when you're feeling those emotions. Like with anger, one of the best pieces of advice I got from a therapist was, you know, asking yourself, what belief is under that anger? And is my anger covering up another deeper emotion, right? And so, you know, a lot of times there's sadness, there's grief, there's betrayal, there's all kinds of things under that. And all those emotions need to be felt, especially if you've been repressing them. And a good way to allow yourself to feel is to write And if you're gonna journal for emotional processing, set a timer for like 5 or 10 minutes. Don't do any more than 15 minutes a day. And just like think of it like a brain dump, a purge, you know, just get it out. Don't try to edit it. You can even burn it and throw it away after, whatever, so nobody else reads it. Whatever you need to just get it out of yourself. You know, I even have my kids, when they have a tantrum, to scream into one of their big pillow-like stuffies. But there is also something, you know, go in your car, close the windows, doors, scream if you need to. Another way I feel called to tell you, this is kind of silly, but it works for me, is watching a movie I know that will make me cry, or a TV show, or reading a book, or something that I know will make me cry when I feel that need to cry, and it will help me process, and it will help me release that from my body, and that is part of the healing. And the last card I have for you is a fiery climax approaches, full moon in Aries, which is so interesting because we are in Aries energy right now. My daughter's birthday is coming up here within the next week. She will be 5. Actually, yeah, 7 days. She will be 5, which is totally wild and feels unreal. But it's very real. Okay, and I'm going to read you the book from this as well because I feel called to. So, it is time to see if you have been a little bit too much me, me, me. There's a tug of war going on between what you want and what someone else wants, but you'll have to wait a little while to see what's going to happen next. As you wait, ask yourself if you've been handling the situation as sensitively as you could have done. If you know deep down that you've been a little rash or harsh, gone too fast, or overstepped the mark, then accept that on some level you've created this situation yourself, which means you can create your way out of it too. When this card comes up, a peak is coming and it could be fiery. Attuned to the moon. Be nice, be kind, smile, and be polite as you navigate to where you want to be. Again, like I was saying, that Queen of Cups energy, that compassion towards yourself. Find some loving kindness meditations to practice towards yourself. I feel called to tell you that. Additional meanings for this card. Being assertive is good, just don't ride roughshod over anyone. If you're in a tense situation, meditate your way to peace. Don't be a baby. Sorry, but this could be an issue. Or the issue. You need to have more fun. The teaching. The full moon in Aries is a super fiery time when emotions can run very high. On the upside, there's excitement about what may lie ahead, but tempers are likely to flare with rash comments or decisions. No matter when you pull this card, it signals that the situation has just or is about to come to a peak, perhaps in a rather heated way. Like I was saying, the communication and things that may have been said that were painful. There could be a price to pay if you've been too competitive or too blunt. Interesting. So, my dear friends, hold tight, hang in there. Again, embracing, getting connected to your heart. Part of healing is also atoning for ways in which we've hurt others and asking for forgiveness. I also feel called to tell you about, I always say this wrong, but Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian healing technique that, you know, a number of different life coaches have talked about, and I'm sure there's stuff on I know there's stuff on YouTube as well. But the whole process is that you can do this in your mind towards somebody, you can do it towards yourself, or you can do it in person in front of that person. And if you do it in person in front of the person, you look them in the eyes, and with as much love as possible, you say, "I'm sorry. I love you, please forgive me, thank you." And you repeat it, all of those 3 times. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And even my 5-year-old, you know, my almost 5-year-old can do this, and I've done this with her. I've done it to my own body. When I realized that I was repressing childhood trauma that I had blocked out and had been storing all of that in my body for so long, for like 30 some odd years. I've done it to my husband when I've said harsh things. I've done it in my mind to other family members when I've, been unkind. But to ex-boyfriends, whoever you need to, it goes really well with energetic cord cutting as well. So I will link meditation in there as well for that. But the biggest message that I get from your ancestors, again, to wrap this all up, is that you are in a time of healing, but you're still having to do a lot of work, and you need to fill your cup first. And maybe for some of you, you need to take some ownership of where your words have created pain, both to yourself and others. And if it's not you that have created the pain, it's speaking up for yourself and speaking to the pain that you have received and healing through that. And part of that is, speaking it into existence, acknowledging and articulating our story and our experience is the first step to healing. And being compassionate, getting back connected to your heart. When we're speaking and we're dealing with all of our really intense emotions, it can get fiery. It can get pretty crazy. But in that fire, the pain can be transmuted into more love, more understanding, more connection. And I just got so many chills. Again, embrace the discomfort, embrace the hurt feelings, embrace all of it and feel through it so that it can move on and that you can do the work that you need to do. And again, justice, I feel called again. Part of that justice and that karmic cycle is breaking cycles, within our families. And I feel like a lot of the messages from the ancestors have been, we are breaking cycles, we are bringing justice, we are bringing balance from many, many karmic things. And again, like I said before in the beginning, if there are ancestors that have hurt you that you don't want to communicate with again, you set the tone and you set the boundaries for this. So you can set the intentions of the interactions that you want to have. And I love you. I am so curious to see how this resonated with you and what you're going through. Please comment below, like, subscribe, share, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you.